Okay, Heather, thanks so much. It is Monday, October 9th, and all bets are off at this casino. Nate leaving the Golden Nugget Casino underwater. We are live on the ground to show you the destruction.
Also breaking overnight, President Trump working to make America safe again. Brand new details on what's being called the toughest immigration crackdown in American history.
And Vice President Mike Pence sends a clear message during the Indianapolis Colts game. Stand up and support our troops, or he's not going to watch. Fox and Friends First starts right now.
Morning. I'm Jillian Mele. Thanks for waking up with us.
Absolutely, and I'm Rob Schmidt. Thanks for starting your day with us. Of course, let's get right to extreme weather. Off the top here, Hurricane Nate slamming the Gulf Coast as a Category 1 hurricane and leaving behind a pretty hefty trail of destruction.
It's now a tropical depression moving north and threatening to dump even more heavy rain. Joining us live from Biloxi, Mississippi is Ellison Barber. Good morning, Ellison.
Good morning to both of you. Hurricane Nate is being blamed for at least 20 deaths in Central America. The U.S. much luckier here in Mississippi. Officials say there are no injuries or deaths associated with this storm. But Nate did leave behind power outages and debris like this sailboat you see behind me. This ship is stuck up on the beach, and it's been here since Sunday morning. No word on when officials will be able to get that cleared. But this is one example of some of the problems people are having to deal with here in Biloxi, Mississippi. On the whole, the destruction here was minimal. However, this is the first time since 2005 when Hurricane Katrina hit Mississippi that a hurricane has hit the state, and officials say that's one big reason why they were prepared for this storm.
We did not dodge a bullet in Mississippi. We got hit head on at night by a Category 1 storm. If that same storm, if Nate would have hit us 15 years ago, the damage would have been much more extensive.
Nate led to states of emergency in Louisiana, Alabama, and Mississippi. In Alabama and Mississippi, 100,000 people woke up Sunday morning and didn't have power. Crews worked late yesterday trying to restore it here in Mississippi. Mississippi Power say they were able to get back the power for all of their customers here by last night. Yesterday afternoon, Alabama Power said they still had around 36,000 customers without power. That's something crews are going to continue working on today. We expect to get an update on how many people are without power in Alabama a little later this morning. Here in Biloxi, casinos likely have water damage. You showed that video earlier of the Golden Nugget Casino where storm surge filled the lobby. A lot of parking decks. Casinos like the Hard Rock Casino were flooded as well. They looked like little oceans of their own. So all of that are things that are going to have to be still dealt with today. Jillian, Rob?
Yeah, that video is pretty intense.
Yeah. After what we've had this summer, a Category 1 doesn't sound that impressive, but it actually is a pretty powerful storm. All right, thank you so much. All right, moving on to some politics here. The Trump administration wants to play let's make a deal on immigration, announcing plans for several major changes in exchange for extending DACA.
That's right. Kelly Wright is here now with the brand new details. Kelly.
Jillian and Rob, good morning to you both. The White House submitting a series of tough new proposals cracking down on illegal immigration that's raising some concerns from various members of Congress who have been working towards a bipartisan solution. But President Trump is putting Congress on notice. He wants his tough immigration policies enacted in exchange for 800,000 young immigrants currently protected under DACA. That's the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program. Well, during a White House conference call on immigration, Mark Short, White House Director of Legislative Affairs, said it is time for Congress to adopt the president's immigration priorities.
This program is often depicted in the media as impacting young children. Congress is addressing a program that has to do with working-aged adults.
And President Trump's priorities include changing the way the country issues green cards to immigrants, stopping unaccompanied minors from entering the United States, and building that border wall that the president promised.
If we don't fix the laws for illegal alien minors, if we don't close the asylum loopholes, if we don't provide the resources necessary to quickly adjudicate cases, then we will never have a secure border.
Senate Minority Leader Charles Schumer and House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi released a joint statement blasting the Trump administration for this. The administration can't be serious about compromise or helping the Dreamers if they begin with a list that is anathema to the Dreamers, the immigrant community, and to the rest of the majority of the Americans. The president's goal with this Get Tough policy is to give federal agents the tools they need to stop illegal immigration. But Jillian, Rob, one has to ask now, is it deal or no deal?
Yeah, no kidding. Right.
Kelly, right? Thank you very much.
Sure.
And this morning we are hearing in harrowing detail the tense 12 minutes Las Vegas cops tried to breach the room of Stephen Paddock.
That's right. Those officers speaking for the very first time, and the details really are incredible. Will Carr is live in Las Vegas with more on that. Will.
Good morning, Rob and Jillian. A lot of new information coming out over the weekend, including the fact that Stephen Paddock's brother is now in Las Vegas talking to the FBI, trying to help them find that elusive motive why Paddock killed 58 and injured almost 500 others. We've also learned that federal authorities now believe that Paddock may have had an undiagnosed mental illness, and we're finding out more about his preparation and exactly what he had on the note on his hotel nightstand.
I did notice a note on the nightstand near his shooting platform. I could see on it he had written the distance, the elevation he was on, the drop of what his bullet was going to be for the crowd. So he had that written down and figured out, so he would know where to shoot to hit his targets from there.
And as the FBI continues to talk to Mary Lou Danley, Paddock's girlfriend, we know that authorities searched his home here in Nevada for the second time this weekend. It comes as Steve Wynn told Chris Wallace on Fox News Sunday that Paddock and Danley visited his hotels a number of times over the years.
But another thing, being in a room for 3 days in a do not disturb situation, that would have triggered an alarm here, and would have been considered as a potentially dangerous thing from the guest's point of view, that maybe the person was ill, and we would want to inspect and see that they were safe. We'd go into the room. We'd want to know more.
And while the investigation continues, calls for gun control are swirling, but Senator Dianne Feinstein said yesterday that there's no law that could have possibly stopped this shooter. Guys, back to you.
All right, Will Carr, thank you so much. All right, so let's go to talk about a little more politics today, and an issue that, of course, has been a big talking point for a lot of weeks now, and this is the NFL. The players taking a knee. Vice President Mike Pence back in Indianapolis. In Indiana, the state that he was running before he got the new job with President Trump. And he was at the game, at the Colts game against the 49ers there in Indy. And he watched as a number of players from the 49ers took a knee during the national anthem. And he decided, I'm getting out of here.
Yeah,
and walked out of the stadium.
To give you a little scene, weren't watching this game yesterday. None of the Colts players were there taking a knee. Some of the 49ers players did, though, and this is nothing new. This is the 49ers. This is where this all started with Colin Kaepernick, going back to the very beginning.
Sure, yeah.
You know, and this is one of those things. Unfortunately, this was taken to a whole new level yesterday now, because you had Vice President Mike Pence there, as you said. He walked out of the game. He said on a tweet, sending out a tweet. So there was a big conversation here, and let's bring you Mike Pence's tweet at this point. And he said, at a time when so many Americans are inspiring our nation with their courage, resolve, and resilience, now more than ever, we should rally around our flag and everything that unites us. While everyone is entitled to their own opinions, I don't think it's too much to ask NFL players to respect the flag and our national anthem.
And he makes a solid point. I mean, if you want to talk about police brutality, you want to have that conversation, that's fine, and there's an issue there to talk about. But why does that have to be during the national anthem? I mean, is just one issue in this country enough to make you hate the entire country? I mean, that's not a fair point either.
I wonder, Rob, how does this end? When does this end? I don't, unfortunately, see an end in sight.
Right, and if you talk to Jerry Jones, I mean, this is at the end of the day the owner of the Dallas Cowboys. This is a business decision more than anything else, and here's a from him that says, if there is anything disrespecting the flag, then we will not play, period. So he's taking a hard angle on this, Jones said Sunday. This is according to the Dallas Morning News. We're going to respect the flag, and I'm going to create the perception of it. I mean, he understands that this is not a good moment for the NFL, and this is killing the ratings. is killing their popularity. He's not going to have it. I mean, he's a businessman. He's got to run his company.
Sunday is spent now talking about this instead of what people used to enjoy with football. It's just sitting back with their friends and family and watching their favorite team play. It's not about that anymore.
And people right now hate politics, and there's just one more area that politics has intruded in, so there you go. Absolutely. And we do want to hear what you think about this, because we know you think a lot about this, because our viewers have been very vocal on this issue, as a number of other issues. So if you want to send it to us, send it on Facebook, email, however you want to get it to us, send it on over, and we'll try to get to some of those comments maybe later in the show.
And there will be a lot of them, I'm sure.
Absolutely. All right. Okay, 10 minutes after the hour now, and breaking right now, there are reports of people hiding inside of their wineries in Northern California. At least 5 wildfires burning out of control right now, and we have some video that is simply stunning.
And police stopped a Times Square terror plot with multiple attackers just in time, but it took a year for the public to find out. Why? That's coming up next.
All right, terror target New York City. New details of a foiled terror plot have just been revealed.
The NYPD and the FBI taking down 3 would-be terrorists 1 year ago, all who were planning to attack Times Square, the subway system, even targeting concert venues like the one in Las Vegas. But why are these details just coming out now?
Yeah, here to weigh in on that and let us know why they would be coming out right now, former NYPD lieutenant and Army veteran Dr. Darren Porcher. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me, Rob.
Yeah, so, and obviously there's been a delay here.
Right.
This is old news to some respect, but it's just coming out now. Tell us why there would be that delay, because it is on purpose.
Well, I understand it. Normally what we have is, this appears to me as a proffer agreement. Agreement is when we arrest the defendant and we attempt to gain that information to find out who is complicit in the criminal activity. So the defendant applies out to wherever charges are on the books, and therefore they in turn exchange this information, and the prosecutor will introduce a level of leniency for whatever this person's testimony was. So this individual was arrested last year. However, they haven't been sentenced yet. The sentencing is going to be December of this year. We had 2 additional defendants, one was arrested in the Philippines and the other that was arrested in Pakistan. So they were awaiting these 2 additional defendants to come here to the United States.
And they're
so
still
it makes,
not here.
Right, but it makes all the reason necessary and understandably so why the feds didn't introduce this information to the public. I think one of the reasons why it was introduced so soon was in the wake of the terrorist attack, I want to say the domestic terrorist attack that occurred in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Right. I can understand the police and the FBI not wanting to create mass hysteria, not wanting to scare the public unnecessarily, but at the same time, as a member of the public who walks down these streets, I would like to know this information.
You make a good point. The common citizen looks at it that way. However, law enforcement is tasked with trying to gain or extract as much information that's relevant to these potential terrorist attacks moving forward. They want to connect with every single person that's involved in this. So we take in consideration trap and trace, more so wiretap, so to speak. They want to access that entire network and bring them in. Therefore, they can arrest them and prevent further damage, or I want to say danger, from happening to us as a society. Because just think, if they immediately made mention of that first person that was arrested, everyone would be out in the wind.
Right.
So this is purely in protection of us as a free society.
Yeah. I mean, I remember I talked to, it was either a police officer or an FBI agent once told me that if you could hear the things that we hear, if you could hear our surveillance, you'd be scared to leave the house, especially living in Manhattan. How hard is it to keep this city, which is so big, so many people, so many moving parts, so many targets, how hard is it to keep that safe?
You know, it's funny, that statement is something that came from General Mattis when he was the Secretary of Homeland Security, and I remember when he made that statement distinctly. However, it's a very difficult and arduous task, but I truly believe that we have the finest law enforcement in the world, and they're fit for the challenge, and therefore they're going to implement all of the nuances in the technological advancements in law enforcement to protect us as a free society.
And by the way, it's not just the people who reside in Manhattan, it's the millions of people who come here to visit every year, every day.
Everybody comes
to we have although we have an official tally of 8.5 million people, that number is more closely to 12 million. when you look at the surrounding counties of people that come into work, as you mentioned.
And tourists from all over the country and all over the world.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it, and it's an incredible job to keep a city this big safe. So we do appreciate your help. All right, thank you so much.
And we appreciate you guys for letting the public know what's happening.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
It is 18 minutes after the hour right now, and the video is insane. A man hanging onto the hood of a school bus. The kids inside are absolutely terrified. The story behind this video is next.
Wow. Plus, before she was a TV host, what did Jillian Mele do?
Come on over. I won't mess up your order, I think.
Oh, wow. I can't wait to see this.
Oh, man.
We're heading to... All right, you have seen her covering the latest breaking news here at the Fox News studio and live, coast to coast as well. But where did it all begin for Jillian Mele? Where did it all begin?
You're going to find out.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Welcome to my hometown of Glenside, Pennsylvania. All right, so I'm taking you back in time right now to the late 90s-ish, I'm going to say. My very first job when I was 16 years old here in Glenside, O'Neill's Food Market. And this is a small family-owned grocery store. And one of the coolest things about this place, honestly, is you walk in and you know everybody. Hi, Keith. How are you?
Welcome back to Glenside.
Thank you. It's been forever.
Yeah.
Find Tommy. This way? Okay.
Hello,
How are you?
Welcome back.
Thank you.
You ready to come back to work?
The trusty green shirt. Come on over. I won't mess up your order, I think.
You're a natural.
I always actually liked bagging. Even still today, whenever I go to a grocery store, I always bag it myself. How are you? Just milk today? $17.96, please. It's definitely coming back to me. Billy, how are you? Do you remember me? Hi.
What's going on? Is this your crew?
Yeah.
Oh, hi, crew.
What else are you going to be doing while you're in town?
Stopping at my parents' house.
Oh, good.
I came here before I went home. Hi.
Hi.
Where's Tyler? Tyler, did you miss me? Oh, hi. You're used to that by now.
We have various photos.
Wait, this is your favorite picture? Why is this your favorite?
It's so pretty. This was in '86, one of your first dance recitals.
Do I look like a delicate ballerina there? Yet again, another dance recital. Oh, the camper.
Camper.
We used to sit outside in the driveway. Do you remember Mom and Dad would pop this thing up and we would, like, all the neighborhood kids, we would play in it and fake cook in it. Hey guys, come on outside, the food's ready. Oh, all right. Thank you. I'm ready. Hi, Jillian. What's up, Liv? Hi, Chase. And Katie.
Yes, dear.
Rumor has it.
Yeah.
There's a hot milk cake here.
Oh, there sure is.
How did you get started making that for us?
Actually, it was your great-great-great-grandmother.
I will take that back with me to New York. But before we go to New York, we got to go golfing.
We got to go golfing.
I haven't golfed in a little while. I'm rusty. It's hard to believe that it was 2 years ago that I started to learn.
Nice hit.
That was good.
You give me that one, right?
No, we got to play by the rules.
Huh? Excuse me. Sorry, I took it. Nice spot. Didn't go to the right.
Are you going to give me that one?
Nope.
Yes.
Very good.
All right.
All right.
On to the next. There are no gimmies in golf, people. That's the moral of the story.
And you moved to the wrong town if you love to play golf, because it's not the easiest thing to do here in New York.
I went to Chelsea Piers the other day.
Yeah, you can still hit some balls.
We're going to find out.
You got a good swing.
I'm getting there.
Yeah.
But we're going to find out about your hometown.
Yeah.
Coming up a little later in the show.
Exceptionally painful. That'll be coming up here in about 20 minutes. I really can't wait. All right, 25 minutes after the hour right now, breaking right now. There are reports of people who are hiding in wineries in Northern California, in wine country, Napa, Sonoma, that area. At least 5 wildfires burning out of control right now as we speak. And we have some video coming in, and it is simply stunning.
And late night TV wasted no time pushing for gun control in the wake of the Las Vegas massacre. And Saturday Night Live was no different. Did they finally go too far?
You can't just inherit 4,000 acres.
All right, a Fox News alert and happening right now. At least 5 different wildfires tearing through California's, Northern California's wine country. Evacuations underway as these growing flames are threatening a number of homes and also businesses as well.
Adam Housley joins us on the phone live with the latest. And I know, Adam, you joined us in the 4 o'clock hour, and things are only getting worse.
Yeah, you know, it's like I just got a tweet from the sheriff that says, I just came across a scanner. It said, quote, "We're in survival mode. Don't take any chances. Don't get hurt." That's from the sheriff across the police scanner in Napa right now. And it's not just Napa, guys. Let me set the scene for you. The wine country, one of the busiest tourist areas in the country, believe it or not. This is the busiest time of the year because it's harvest. Yesterday, the Safeway Open finished at Silverado Country Club. And just hours later now, that area is being evacuated. In fact, there's significant areas of Napa evacuated along Silverado Trail. My whole family's been evacuated from their homes. My brother said he watched the winery literally blow up in flames. He grabbed a hose to try to help the neighbor's house, but the power's all out, which is becoming a problem because you can't put out any little embers that might land in your yard if you decided to even try and stay, which they're telling you not to do, of course. Now, it's not just Napa. Like, let's put this in perspective. The National Weather Service, they actually have a map up right now that shows there's 5 major fires burning. There's Napa on the east side of Napa on Silverado Trail. So for those who've been there as tourists, the Silverado Trail up towards Oak Knoll and Stag's Leap is all on fire. On the west side, you've got fire burning down towards the Patrick Road area, which is going towards Carneros, another big wine area. But there's a lot of homes in these areas, neighborhoods. That's what you have to realize, not just wineries and ranches and stuff like that. There are full-on neighborhoods that are under evacuation now. Over in Sonoma County, which is just over the hill, you've got Kenwood, Windsor, Sebastopol all have fires burning near them as well. Mandatory evacuations, the Mark West area, which is up by between Calistoga and Santa Rosa. So these are all areas. Some of them are more country, but there's a lot of, again, large neighborhoods near some of these fires. And this has been going on now for several hours. We're told that the winds have been gusting 40 to 50 miles an hour. It's very dry. They had obviously a very wet winter in California for the first time in 5 years, and that's all helped fan these flames, guys. It's pretty bad right now.
Yeah, Adam, I know that after that winter that you guys had, you needed the water so bad, you finally got it, but now there's all that brush, and it's so dry, it's just kind of fire. All right, Adam, thank you so much. And the wind, also in California, as it is hot and dry, also windy, and that is a nightmare scenario for firefighters, making this a very tough fight. And meteorologist Adam Klotz is live in the Weather Center with more on that.
Hey there, Rob. Yeah, that's going to be part of the problem for folks across the West again today. Here's what the forecast is early this morning. As you can tell, not a lot of activity as far as rain. That would be popping up on this model. Temperatures right now currently in the 50s to 60s, but you're going to be climbing back up into the lower 80s before the day is over. No rain in sight. Winds getting up consistently 30, 35 miles an hour, but gusting up to that 40, 50 miles an hour. And with no rain in the forecast, things are not looking good as far as any improvement in the forecast to help fight those fires. Now, on the other side of the country, the story continues to be everything we're tracking with which once was Hurricane Nate, now a post-tropical cyclone. That's just a fancy way to say this is now just a rainmaker. You're looking at rain from Richmond running up to Washington and Philadelphia. New York City will be getting this rain soon. It's such a fast mover, Rob. This is going to be completely off the East Coast here by the end of the day today.
Okay, Adam, and we'll keep an eye on those fires out west. I think when the sun comes up on that, we're going to see exactly what we're talking about, and it could be bad. Adam, thank you so much. All right, President Trump throwing a brand new bargaining chip on the table to fulfill a key campaign promise. The White House vowing to support DACA if Congress funds the border wall, looking to make a deal, the ultimatum. Part of a 70-point enforcement plan to crack down on illegal immigration, which includes rewriting the law to eliminate loopholes that have been taken advantage of for years.
If we don't fix the laws for illegal alien minors, if we don't close the asylum loopholes, if we don't provide the resources necessary to quickly adjudicate cases, then we will never have a secure border.
That's Customs and Border Patrol right there. The White House's wish list built from the ground up with input from the Justice, State, and Labor Departments, along with Homeland Security's immigration agencies. So all of that together. Jillian, over to you.
All right, Rob, time for some football right now, and a wild day in Week 5 for the NFL with some big scores, some even bigger injuries, and also one of the league's biggest rivalries renewed. Joining me now for a Football Sunday recap is NFL Hall of Fame wide receiver and host of Fox Sports 1's First Things First, Chris Carter. Carter, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Thanks for joining us now that you're in the same building.
Well, thank you, and congratulations on the new show.
Thank you. You too.
Yes,
all right, let's get right into it. Let's talk about Cowboys and Packers right now. Look, if you give Aaron Rodgers time, chances are he's going to get it done.
Yeah, it's easier said than done. The Dallas fans and most football fans are saying, well, why didn't Dallas take more time off the clock? Well, they needed a touchdown. It's hard to be able to appropriate the right amount of time, but where they really made the mistake where they played too much man-to-man coverage. All right, there was a lot of time on the clock. Aaron Rodgers, if you give him that type of time, he's the best quarterback I've ever seen throw the football, and he proved that. Going into that drive, he only had 181 yards passing, so they had held him in check until the last drive. Aaron Rodgers' magic puts him over the top.
Tough go, though, for the Cowboys fans because this is another game where they're up at half, and these are the games they were winning last season. They can't get it done this season, though.
A totally different team. Typically, when they have the lead, they've had the 15-point leads twice this season. So Dallas Cowboy fans, that defense, especially the secondary, they got two rookies playing a bunch of time, lack of a pass rush at the end of the game. That's why they've been able to lose those games compared to running the football, milking out the clock. That's the way they got to 13-3 last year, yes.
All right, let's talk about injuries, and unfortunately, two big ones to talk about, starting right now with J.J. Watt, who, as you know, last season was out for much of the season with a back injury, comes back this year and now fractures his leg on the first drive.
Yeah, J.J. Watt, he's one of the most dominant players that's ever played in the NFL, especially in the last 10 years. Huge injury to the NFL. Not only is he one of the marquee names and everything, but one of the great infectious personalities, always involved with the fans. But these injuries the last couple of years, they bring into question J.J. Watt. How many more years can he be as dominant? This is a serious injury. I mean, he's a big guy. He had 2 back surgeries this offseason. So unfortunate news for the Texans with J.J. Watt.
Sometimes you watch these injuries play out, you watch the replay, and you're like, okay, hopefully it's not that bad. But with Odell Beckham Jr., there was no hopefully it's not that bad. This was a nasty ankle injury, and you saw it right away.
We knew it was going to be something. I'm glad it was the ankle compared to the knee. Like I thought that he was in a bad spot landing. His ankle got caught trapped up under the defender, which a lot of times it happens. I think he has an ankle fracture. This is something that won't hurt his career compared to J.J. Watt, who's had a number of injuries. Odell was very young. He'll be after 3 years because he's looking for a huge contract extension. But the Giants and Odell will recover from this. Well, Odell will. I don't know about the Giants.
I don't know about the Giants. I was going to say it may not hurt his career, but they're 0-5 right now. They are at the bottom. They are struggling, and they lost all their wide receivers but one yesterday.
Yeah, and there was someone on our show. I'm not going to mention his name. His name's Nick Wright. He picked the Giants as a Super Bowl team.
Oh, no. Well, speaking of your show, what do you have coming up today?
Oh, we got big stuff. We got Coach Eric Mangini, who's also our New England insider. So we got a big show, big topics. Looking forward to the show with Nick and Jenna. It's been an amazing 4 weeks so far.
Awesome. We are looking forward to it as well. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Again. Thank
you. Rob, back to you.
All right, guys, thanks so much. 37 minutes after the hour, Saturday Night Live turning into a late-night lecture on gun control.
Why is it so hard to get gun control in this country? I mean, who are these delicate snowflakes that we can't just tell, no, you're not allowed to have 40 guns anymore, Earl?
All right, but it's what the show did not mention that's actually making headlines this morning. Selective outrage coming up next. And also, you've been to Jillian's hometown just a few minutes ago. Next, we're going to go to mine. I'll tell you what it was like growing up in Carmel, Indiana. That's Fox News Country. Stay tuned. All right, late night TV hosts wasting no time pushing for gun control in the wake of what happened in Las Vegas, and Saturday Night Live was no different.
The investigation into the tragedy in Las Vegas this week has sparked a larger debate in America between people who want common sense gun control and people who are wrong.
3% of Americans own 50% of all the guns in the country. That's the problem, that whiny 3% that needs to feel secure all the time.
The increasingly political SNL. What the show didn't mention, though, Hollywood producer and big-time Democratic Party supporter Harvey Weinstein and the numerous sexual harassment claims against him. So the topic today is the hypocrisy that's happening in Hollywood. And here to weigh in, Chuck Rocha, president of Solidarity Strategies, Carrie Sheffield, founder of Bold Global, and Chad Prather, a comedian and a blogger. Guys, thanks so much for coming on this morning. We do appreciate it. Chuck, I'm going to start with you. I'm pretty pragmatic about gun control. I don't like the fact that somebody's able to shoot 500 people in 10 minutes. I think it's disgusting. But at the same time, who are comedy writers to lecture anybody on policy and politics and answers on gun control? And you have to at least admit that there's got to be some kind of hypocrisy here. I mean, Harvey Weinstein's story was so easy. I mean, you could make so many good skits on that, and they didn't even touch it.
I think sexual harassment don't have a party. I don't think it's about Democrat or Republican. I think these guys are trying to get ratings, and I think that's why you've seen so much about Donald Trump. He's the president of the free world. It's an open market, so they get out there and they try to get their ratings up, and they're talking about what they want to be talking about. And I couldn't say more about Weinstein. I'm a Democrat. That it's wrong. Whether it's Harvey Weinstein or President of the United States, sexual harassment is wrong. We should be talking about it. We should be addressing it, just like we should be addressing gun control.
And I completely agree with that. Carrie, we'll go over to you for a second. What did you make of them just not even touching it? And then I also want to ask you, because I think you have a good point to make on the fact that the DNC is donating all the money that Harvey donated to them. They're going to send it somewhere else. So kind of tell me about those two things.
Okay, so yes, in terms of the money, well, first of all, I believe it's only 10% that the DNC said that they would return from the most recent cycle, as opposed to his whole long history of $300,000 of donations, apparently. They're only going to give about 10%, $30,000, but they're giving it to liberal organizations that help elect liberal Democrat women. So that's the whole thinking, is they're like, because it's women, therefore it's okay. But it's a shell game. It's, shifting money from your checking to your savings account to say we're going to give the money to Planned Parenthood, or we're going to give the money to Emily's List that, elects liberal Democratic women and performs abortions in the case of Planned Parenthood. So it really is this utter hypocrisy. But to your broader question in terms of the hypocrisy of not mentioning Weinstein, so in his statement himself, Weinstein blames the NRA. He said, I'm going to channel my anger about my behavior against Wayne LaPierre. And this is the sort of insanity. There's nothing new under the sun, but that was the first for me. I've never seen someone blame the NRA for being a sexual harasser themselves. I don't understand it. This is part of the bigger problem of the trifecta: Hollywood, media, and academia. All the major cultural institutions are so in an echo chamber, and that's why they're going to lose again, not only in this coming year for the election.
And let's go to Chad with more on that. He's a comedian. He knows the industry pretty well, and there is a point to be made. There really are no conservative voices coming out of Hollywood. And what's so interesting about that is that if you really think about how they produce television, I lived in LA for 3 years. I mean, their market is the Midwest. These are the people that usually are red states are the ones that are watching all their shows, because people on the coast don't have as much time. People in the Midwest and the red states watch a lot of TV, and they don't have any venue for a lot of the things that they believe in. What do you say to that, Chad?
Well, our first guest there, he said that it's all about the ratings. In theory, yes, but the ratings are starting to tank because people in America are getting tired of sock puppet celebrities that are throwing their temper tantrums, and we don't want to get lectured for an hour by self-appointed pundits that are posing as late-night comedians. It's not funny. The Harvey Weinstein thing is not funny. The issue in Las Vegas, it's not funny. Late-night comedy has become unfunny. And by the way, Harvey Weinstein, obviously his donations to the DNC, to his support of Hillary Clinton, he visited the Obama White House 13 times, which causes me to recommend that they change the sheets. But I did hear that he liked the shower water pressure.
Jeez. Okay. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining me this morning to talk about this, and we'll see if there is any change. But I do think you're right. I mean, it's gotten to the point where everything's political now, and I just think that at some point, it's going to get old, and I think we're going to see that. All right, guys. Thanks so much for coming on. All right, coming up next, we're calling it Must-See TV. I don't know if it will be, but we're going to take you to my hometown. I hope you enjoy it. We're going into central Indiana. That's coming up. First, let's check in, though, with Brian Kilmeade, see what's coming up after this show on Fox and Friends. Hey, Brian.
Right. Hey, Rob, congratulations on the show. Thanks. And also, that's your exclusive. You should get the banner that says Rob's exclusive look at Rob's family.
Yeah.
That's how we should do it.
Nobody else got it but me.
I know you're not looking forward to it, but we are. Hey, I gotta tell you, here's what we have over the next 3 hours coming your way. The White House announces a groundbreaking demands when it comes to immigration reform. We have the details from a White House official and what it means for this president president and for the people that put him in office. We're also going to be talking about the NFL. 2 owners demand their players stand. Will others do the same thing? And the vice president makes a stand. We'll tell you the inside story on that. And Kellyanne Conway will join us live about the problems with Senator Corker and more. It seems like he and the president going at it. General Jack Keane on the way forward with North Korea and more. And the big debate on guns. Nobody better to talk to than Dana Lash. It's going to be a huge show on Monday. Don't miss a minute. We're taking attendance, and I urge you to please get dressed.